Scrum Master is one of the most significant roles in an agile organization, and most of the people look at it as some a role that essentially is limited to the team. But in the larger context of sustaining enterprise transformation in organizations, Scrum Master plays a very big role and a critical role. As the agile coaches transform teams and keep moving into engaging new teams, the responsibility of sustaining the levels of maturity the teams have accomplished rests on the scrum master's shoulders, and not just sustenance part. And from that place where the team currently is today, and how much of experimentation are they able to undertake and are able to evolve from that state also, depends mostly on how well the scrum master is engaging and coaching the team. So scrum master is a very significant role in organizations and very critical role as against what people look at it to be, right? And they can create an impact not just at a team level but beyond the team at a tribe or a team of teams or business unit or even at an organization level. So we ran a program last year on you know how the scrum masters can really establish themselves, and we covered that program for about 6 months. It was really great, engaging, and learning experience for all of us, the participants, as well as the coaches and mentors who worked with them. So, in this video, I'm going to look at the 10 books you must read if you are already a practicing scrum master or someone who is really aspiring to become a scrum master. And these books are no in no particular order, so don't go by what I'm showing as number one being the number one book. So it's not that way, but these are the books that would really help you understand what a scrum master is expected to do, what skills, competencies they are expected to build, how they are looking to engage different roles within the organization. So that is the intent of bringing out these books. And again, not to say that this is not an exhaustive list. This is something where you can effectively start your learning journey of being a scrum master. So the 10 books you must read if you are already a practicing scrum master or if you are looking to become one. Now, the first book, of course, the foundation for any Scrum Master is really to understand what is Scrum, right? So the Scrum Guide, which was a republished or revised edition that was published in 2020, is a great starting point for anyone looking to understand Scrum or explore and master Scrum. So start with the Scrum Guide first. So it essentially talks about what Scrum is, everything that is as a roles required for and within a Scrum team. It also talks about different ceremonies or events that need to be undertaken within the Scrum, and it also talks about various practices, the values that they advocate for any Scrum team or a team practicing Scrum. So lots of detail. Again, it may be a very sleek book, but for someone you read it every time based on your experience, you would understand it differently and probably get a greater sense of what is expected when you are actually working with Scrum. So great book for anyone to start off if you are really wanting to get into Scrum or even a Scrum Master role, right? So Scrum Guide is the first book to start off. Now what is next? The next one is actually the art of doing twice the work in half the time by Jeff Sutherland. right? Again, this is another great book, and in this book, essentially, Jeff, with his experience of not just using the Scrum in the context of an IT organization, the experience he has in experimenting with Scrum and looking at a lot of success in industries beyond, you know, software development, that brings a lot of experiences in this book. So, good book to read from understanding the kind of constraints we sometimes think Scrum can bring through, that it is a framework only for software development in the context of IT. So it's much beyond is what the, you will understand when you really read through the book. Another great book to read if you are really wanting to master Scrum. So that is book number 3. Now, what is book number, that was book number 2. So book number 3. Now, book number 3 again is a great book, one of the very impactful and very much appreciated or more recognized book for Scrum Masters, or overall someone who is looking at Scrum, right, and putting greater emphasis on servant leadership and everything that a Scrum Master is expected to know. Right, this book, Scrum Mastery by Jeff Watts, is another great book to read. In this, the author talks about what are characteristics or personality traits a Scrum Master is expected to have, how to really get the team to collaborate with each other, how to get the team understand each other, manage the conflicts better, and how to build high performing teams. Right, that is something which is greatly focused by Jeff, and I remember one of the interactions. I'm pretty sure Jeff does not remember this, that I had with Jeff when I was looking to really understand greater detail into what a Scrum Master does, right, and also an Agile coach does. So great reflections, great books Jeff has come out with. So this is one of his very good books to read. And just for everyone, I'm not getting any, any what should I say, any remuneration or commission by quoting these books that I'm talking about. This is purely with the interest of community development and what you would benefit if you are someone who is starting off your aspirational journey to become a Scrum Master and then grow further in the Agile community. So that is something I'm looking at. Not, I'm not gaining anything from any of the authors that I'm showing off here. So great book, Scrum Mastery by Jeff Watts. That's our book number 3. Now, what is our book number 4? The Surprising Power of Liberating Structures. So, this is our book number 4. Now, what does liberating structures actually refer to, right? So in any organization, when you are trying to engage the teams and transform the organization, you would have a lot of hierarchies that you would come across. So liberating structures is a collection of tools and techniques that can help you get the team to come out of that hierarchical or structural mindset and be able to express themselves, be able to showcase their self management, showcase their autonomy, the way they can manage themselves, right? So that is what liberating structures talks about. And if you are again someone who doesn't know this, there is a great app that comes freely. The app title is also liberating structures, and it is available on both Android as well as iOS versions. That is a great tool to have, whether you are a Scrum Master or whether you are an Agile coach. You can look at all the tools and techniques in that app, and it gives you a extensive view of how to use that particular technique or tool, or and what all, how to conduct that exercise if or workshop, how to facilitate that if you are really keen to use that. So great resource to have. Read the book, get the app. You can look at the Google Play Store or your iOS to really download the app and start using today. Right, one of the very impactful book to read, and great resource to have and use consistently if you're really keen on uh, building high performing teams, self managed autonomous teams in the organization. So that is our book number 4. Moving on, the next book is book number 5. This is again the Scrum Master guidebook. This is one of the very good books to read from my very good friend Chandan Lal Patari. Again, he has also written very great books, and this book again, the speciality with Chandan's books is it's more hands on. So these are kind of experiments or stories or learnings that he has on day-to-day basis, and then he collects them and starts publishing. So it's a collection of practical, hands-on, day-to-day experiences, learnings that he really shares, which is very powerful when you think about someone who has so much experience of coaching, enterprises in their transformation journey. So another great book to read on getting hands-on knowledge, getting something from how it is done practically by someone who is very experienced at driving transformations. Great book to read. He has a lot of books that I think 3 or 4 books if I remember right, and he's I think currently working on a product management guidebook as well. So that is something which you should look forward to. So that is our book number 5. So let's now look at the next book that we want to really talk about. So the next book, again, this is another book from Jeff Watts, the Coach's Case book. Now, why are we talking about this book as one of the books to read? This again is similar to what I referred to in the Scrum Master guidebook, right? So this talks about this book is more a reflection of conversations or experiences few of the great coaches had, and how those conversations went through and how they have been impactful for the clients. So this book by Jeff Watts again presents the experiences of real life coaching conversations and how they have been impactful to the clients, how the conversation is conducted. Right? It's again a great book to really read and gain insights and visualize how we as coaches, not just maybe just Scrum Masters, even for the Agile coaches, how we as coaches really structure our conversations, how to get the flow in that conversation, and how it could be impactful for the the clients or the coaches that we are working with. So that is a second book in the pack from Jeff Watts again. So book number 7, this is Agile Product Management with Scrum. Right, so this is again one of the very good books that with a lot of recommendations on how the role of a product owner emerges, what is expected from a product owner. Now, as a Scrum Master, we would be servicing or serving the product owner a lot, right? So we'll be working with product owner, helping them understand how to create, visualize the product, create the product vision, be able to plan the releases, be able to work, collaborate with the team, uh, write user stories, work on backlog refinement. So as a scrum master, we would be interfacing a lot between the team and the product owner, facilitating a lot of events for the product owner and for the team and their interactions, and looking at how those interactions are taking place, right? How effective they are. So it's very important to understand the product owner mindset, the product ownership role. I think this book gives that, at, understanding. If you are a product owner, what would you look for? What is expected from you? How would you conduct your role? I think that is very critical for anyone to really succeed as a scrum master as well. So I thought this is very important to look at, and read and understand that. Right? That is the reference behind bringing up this particular book, Agile Product Management with Scrum by Roman Pichler. Again, now that is our book number 7. Let's look at book number 8, Agile Estimation and Planning by Mike Kahn. This is another great book. So as part of our building high performing teams, it's about building that predictability of delivery, right? The quality of delivery. And that comes from right estimation and planning, being able to really understand what it takes to arrive at a sprint goal, understanding the complexity of the user stories, and then looking to estimate how the relative estimating is done. Then how do you plan for uh, the sprint goal that we talk about, right? And how do you plan incrementing the product from time to time? So those are very important skills to build and understand. So this book, again, Mike Con, what uh, have seen is very practical, hands-on, right? So that is where this book really gives that clarity and understanding of what does it take to estimate the agile stories or user stories within Scrum, and how do you plan and structure your deliveries of consistent value to the customer that you are serving. So very good book to read on agile estimation and planning. And just to remind those who have not seen our earlier videos, we did talk about the coaching books for agile coaches, on professional coaching basically. And in the earlier video, if you have not yet seen, you can just go and look into the channel, right? And this what I've done is I've taken extra effort to really put those QR codes for you to be able to scan, that it will take you directly to the right book. Sometimes it does happen that you have books with the same name and then you struggle which book to really pick, right? So you may land up in amazon.in, because I'm currently based in India, but it should be more easier once you land on that page to be able to find the right book that we are referring to. Right? So if you are really getting value, again, please like the video, hit the subscribe button so that you keep getting notified of all the latest videos that we are looking to publish. There are lots of videos on the channel on agile transformation. There is also a free course on agile fundamentals. If you're someone or someone in your network looking for basics of agile, they can always go ahead and look into that. And we'll soon be publishing the basics of agile coaching as well as a series of videos, so do look out for that as well. So continuing with our next book that we are referring to. Oops. Okay. So the next book we are talking about is Measure What Matters by John Doerr. So he is the one who introduced OKRs to the world, right? So he talks about objectives and key results. So this book is great to capture what are the teams looking to get from, really from an objective perspective, right? Time to time, how to define those objectives and key results so that they continue to be high performing, they continue to evolve from where they are today, right? So how to define OKRs, even not just in the context of the team, even in your own personal context, if you want to really define objectives and key results for what you want to accomplish on an yearly basis or a quarterly or a half yearly basis. A lot of times what we see is when we are looking to write objectives, and this is not an exception, most of us start from there, is we write actions as our objectives. It's important to understand that actions are means to those objectives, right? So what is that you want to accomplish in the end by taking certain actions is what you should look for from an objective perspective. And when you think about objectives, think about smart, right? Specific, measurable objectives. Okay, so very specific, quantified, measurable objectives. Smart objectives is what you need to really pick. Okay, so when you are defining the objectives and key results. So this book tells you how to actually define the objectives and identify the key results. Another great book for anyone to read, but as a Scrum Master also, this is very, very important to understand. Now, last but not the least, Scrum Mastery. Again, as a Scrum Master, we need to consistently reflect on how we are doing as a individual. How are we contributing to the team's growth? That means self leadership is something which is very, very important, right? To do that retrospective from time to time to gain that feedback on how you are doing, how we are doing in our respective roles, right? And this book again by Madhvi Ladela, actually in this book she talks about basically how retrospective acts as a platform for teams and individuals to reflect and continuously improve, right? It provides an opportunity to pause. Otherwise, in life, we see that we all are in a flow, right? We are continuously in the flow, continuously delivering something. So we do some action today, we go back, do the next action tomorrow, and life continues. Not every time we got a pause to stop. There are lots of organizations which were forced to take that pause, and many of us as individuals as well, when the pandemic struck. But otherwise, if you remember, when was the last time you really paused in life, right? So when did you conduct a retrospective for yourself as an individual? So that is very important, whether it is from a personal perspective or from an organization perspective. So effective retrospectives, how to conduct the effective retrospectives using metaphors. Again, metaphors is a great way of representing our experiences, our thoughts to more clearly. When you talk about a metaphor, you'll be able to really relate and express a lot more using a metaphor than just trying to find words to express our feelings or our thoughts at any point in time. So in this again is a great book to understand the power of metaphors, and also talk about using those metaphors, helping the teams to use the metaphors, or understand when someone is using a metaphor, how to really capture the essence of that metaphor, not just for yourself as a Scrum Master, help them explore the essence of that metaphor, and being able to more deeply, bring out the deeper facts of those individuals, whether they may be their values, their beliefs, or their aspirations, their limitations, could be anything. This is again one of the very, very great books to read and really practice, when you look at that. So that is our last book, book number 10, right? So overall we covered in this particular video the 10 books which I think if you are especially starting off as a Scrum Master would be a great reads. And what I would now request is go through these books. If you have some more recommendations, please feel free to drop in the comments saying this is a book I read and this is the value I got from the book. And that would also help the community as well. And if you like what are the recommendations, do drop in your comments as well that yes, you like these books, and really, that will encourage others also to come and look at these books, get the value that you are getting or you got from these books. So if you like what is being discussed in this channel and in the videos that we publish from time to time, please hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button so that more and more people get to know what we are talking about. Please share the video in your own community so that people understand and can get value from those. If you have any specific questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comments section of the video, and we would love to look at if we can answer those, or we try and bring some experts who can really help us to answer those questions for you. That's all for this video. In the next video we will talk about the 10 books you must read for enterprise agility. If you're someone working at an enterprise level or wanting to look up to moving above at an enterprise level, I think those are the books that you can look forward to. So that video will be something which we will look to publish soon. Thank you for watching this video again. I'm Nivarti Jairam, and I look forward to seeing you again on my channel. Thanks for watching.